cup of Java juice on the rocks.
You must have banked a turn too sharply because it sounds like all the blood has rushed from your brain. I am Bastila Shan, a member
Get
of the
out of
Jedi...
my way, floozy. Now that's what I'm talking about. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is an RPG developed by BioWare and published by Microsoft Game Studios in collaboration with LucasArts. Released in 2003, the game is set in the iconic Star Wars universe, taking place roughly 4,000 years before the events of the films that we all know and mostly love. It follows the story of you, the player character in the center of the Jedi Civil War, a galaxy-wide conflict where the Republic is on the defensive against the unstoppable Sith Armada, led by the recently anointed Dark Lord, Darth Malak. You, alongside a small band of happy-go-lucky adventurers, unstable clankers, wannabe Jedi, and a walking carpet, are tasked with taking the fight directly to the enemy to stop their rampage, because the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance. But as the plot thickens and the truth is revealed, the decision to save the galaxy, or perhaps conquer it for yourself, will rest entirely on your shoulders. I gotta be real with you guys, there's quite simply no other Star Wars game that offers what KOTOR does to this extent. Sure, other Star Wars games exist, but do they have a memorable main story, a good villain, interesting characters, engaging combat, role-playing, a touch of romance, and perhaps most importantly, one of the most potent twists in the history of gaming? Probably not, because it's a tall order, but that's enough foreplay. So let's get started. Okay, so Knights of the Old Republic goes something like this. It starts the way any good piece of Star Wars media should, with the iconic, copyright-ridden opening crawl. This is when we get all the exposition dumped on us, so we have no excuses for asking why the Republic is so washed. We begin aboard the Endar Spire, a Republic ship ambushed by the Sith fleet above the citywide planet of Taris, also known as Discount Coruscant. The Sith are attacking in an attempt to incapacitate the Jedi Bastila. Bastila, something of a celebrity, is renowned for her battle meditation ability, making her key to the Republic war effort.
I might have something to say about that, Brejik.
She's got something to say about it. Oh shit! She is in the Force!
And more recently, being a part of the Jedi Strike Force that defeated Darth Revan, Malak's former master. After awaking from the bender the night before, we scramble to escape the ship alongside Republic hype man Trask Olgo and war hero Karth Onasi. Between the two of them, they do a great job at giving us even more exposition and teaching us how to play the game.
You'll have to use me to unlock the door.
Oh, you should, don't worry.
And at the cost of a heroic sacrifice by T-Dog, who decides to throw hands of a dark Jedi, we crash land on the planet below alongside Karth. Thankfully, we're left with only a minor concussion that leaves us unconscious for a couple of days, but during our slumber, we are plagued with visions of Jedi fighting a hooded Sith figure. I mean, I don't want to be racist, but I am assuming because, you know, his lightsaber is red. More importantly, it begins to plant the seeds of mystery because why would we, a mere grunt of the Republic army, receive visions of Jedi duking it out? When we eventually come to, we make a plan with Karth to find Bastila and get off this planet before we're captured by the Sith. Thus, with the help of a wonderful collection of assorted spaces, we escape the planet before it's glassed by the Dark Lord while he's throwing a hissy fit. With nowhere else to go, Bastila recommends we make our way to the remote world of Dantooine, home of a super secret Jedi enclave out in the open for everyone to see. Touching down planetside, we're again slammed with visions, and after a confusing conversation with the Jedi Council, which consists of two chill dudes, legally distinct Yoda, and Master Ragebait over here, listen buddy, fuck you and your eyebrows. They recognize our aura and agree to train us in the ways of the Force. And at the conclusion of our training, we discover a device known as a star map, a relic from a bygone era. It hints at the location of something called the Starforge, rumored to be key to the Sith's dark crusade against the Republic. And this is where it kicks off. Credits, Pazak, XP, all this and more the galaxy has to offer, but none of it matters. For with this information, the Jedi Council lays out our destiny before us. A weakness in the enemy we needed, and now we have it. Though scattered throughout the galaxy it may be, you just have to find it. And with these words, the call to adventure lures us and our party to the stars in pursuit of dreams we never dare imagine. Because we're not just going to explore the galaxy, we're going to save it. This is the era known as the Old Republic. The story of Knights of the Old Republic, to me at least, represents the quintessential Star Wars story. It's simplistic, but unlike some of the movies, it's very plot driven, as the main character is you, the player. Duh. Therefore, how you choose to interpret events or resolve the multitude of conflicts that are bound to come your way is entirely up to you and your creativity. Whether you want to be the hero, the villain, or something in between, the choice is yours, and it's something that fans of the setting, or even RPGs in general, are going to appreciate. The light side path turns the story into the typical hero's journey with themes such as redemption and perseverance. If you can stomach it, there's even a touch of romance. Meanwhile, the path of the dark side plays out like you're a Saturday morning cartoon villain who finally gets their way. Sometimes it's a tad sadistic, but it's mostly in good fun. Either path you choose is satisfying, as it finally fulfills the urge we all had after watching the movies. The fantasy where we can don the robes of a Jedi and swing around a lightsaber, all without people calling for us to get tested for autism or get a lobotomy. I can't be the only one, surely. I don't think I can explain how many boxes this ticks for Star Wars fans, particularly those that would have grown up around the time that this game was released. You can feel the love and passion for the source material. It really is a dream come true. This game was probably the largest contributor towards my love of the franchise, next to the movies themselves, and it's simply because it lets you be you in that galaxy far, far away that we all fell in love with. If there's anything holding it back, it's definitely the design choices that come across as being made for a younger audience in mind. For instance, some of the dialogue is cringe, and the game's darker subject matter is inconsistently weighted against the more light-hearted moments. Oh, wow, this is a pretty heavy doc. But then 5 minutes up the road, it's, oh, look at this clanker getting sexually assaulted by its owner. White women, am I right? But if there's an aspect of the plot that I cannot glaze enough, it's the twist reveal. I really can't say anything more in fear of giving it away, but I envy anyone who's yet to experience it. Sure, the foreshadowing isn't that subtle, especially on a second playthrough, but please, take my word for it when I say, it's peak, bro. The story of Knights of the Old Republic has a little bit of everything for people to enjoy. It's got the classic hero's journey that anyone can insert themselves into, memorable side characters, a discernible main villain, unless of course you want to assume that role for yourself, and a little bit of mystery and intrigue to keep you motivated. It's nothing that we haven't seen before, and to be honest, it's a formula that BioWare would go on and do to death throughout the early 2000s. However, this game served as the foundation for that and still stands as some of their best work. Across all aspects of the game, KOTOR respects your agency as a player. Right from the get-go, you have the ability to decide how to react to or how to handle every situation. Sure, it's not as comprehensive as Baldur's Gate 3, for example, but KOTOR is old enough to buy cigarettes. And if you want to run face first into a crate dragon lair with no preparation, nobody's stopping you.
Bring it. Come on, Fatso. Oh, is that it? Didn't even let me try.
The game features an alignment system, but your playthroughs don't have to be as rigid as what these systems make them out to be. You can start the game as a paragon of justice or connoisseur of malevolence, but by the time you reach the game's climactic third act, there's enough justification and incentive for you to change your ways.
And then only the rich could afford the cure. Just let the poor suffer.
I said I'd
If
keep
you
it in
find the
mind.
rascal
What's with this
serum,
moral
just take it
grandstanding?
to Zax
Relax.
in the lowest-
I tried my best to be a Jedi, you know, peacekeeper of the galaxy and all of that, but to be honest, mistakes were made. Words like extortion or manslaughter get thrown around too easily these days when, after all, that's all they are. Mistakes. And I'm human, am I not? Am I not entitled to make a few? But sometimes, doing the right thing is hard. Sometimes it's more fun to be naughty. And thankfully, playing the villain in old BioWare games is just oh so fun. And sometimes it just feels natural. The game has multiple endings available, and between all the different ways you can handle side quests, the game is very replayable, and that's even before you want to experiment with builds or companions. Now, while I praise the game for allowing us to be the Jedi or Sith of our dreams, it really begs the question as to whether or not it's just the ultimate Star Wars power fantasy. And the more that I think about it, the more that I believe that it is. Now, is this problematic? Well, I don't really see how you can embody the spirit of the films themselves without the game being a power fantasy. The only saving grace is that the game provides an adequate explanation as for why things occur the way that they do, but I do also understand that some people might struggle to see past that. In which case, can I recommend The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson? Carf, I need you. I can't fly the Ebon Hawk by myself. The side quests in Knights of the Old Republic are easily some of its finer moments, whether that's becoming the Taris dueling champion in an effort to keep a low profile, or playing Sherlock Holmes straight out of the Jedi Academy. However, the allocation of quests are misleading, meaning there's plenty of things to do at the start, but afterwards it's slim pickings as a majority of the game's other content is dominated by the main quest and search for the Starforge. I find that going to all of these new, exciting places to meet new aliens to hate is more enjoyable than the main quest itself. I, for one, are in no rush to go back to Manan anytime soon. Because let's just say that if I did, the galaxy will be eating calamari for light years to come.
Oh my god, can these fish fucks leave me alone? I know this is a light side playthrough, but I'm actually ready to ignite and turn these guys into fucking sashimi. I need another drink.
That's not to say that the story is unenjoyable, but if you're anything like me and you've played the game many times before, the main story doesn't really hold up on repeat playthroughs. This is because it's sold to you as being this grand epic quest where you're encouraged to speak to as many people as possible to find clues that will ultimately lead you to the Starforge. If not just to ruin their day, because somebody needs to pay for these bullshit Pazak games. But of course, once you know where to go and who to speak to, the galaxy suddenly feels a lot more empty, and the main quest will lose some of its luster. Outside of the key narrative moments, of course. What will make all of this go down sweeter, however, is the scruffy nerf herders you bring with you. Each member of your party will comment on your decisions, offer insight, or even banter with each other.
Hey, Bastila, you ever use the Force just for fun? You know, a little jolt to the Force to trip up some jerk who's ticking you off?
I would never use the Force for such petty and trivial revenge. The mere thought of it's preposterous.
Aw, come on. There's gotta be times when you thought about it. Don't be so stuck up. You can tell me.
I am not stuck up. I merely have the years of training to give me the wisdom and understanding to see how childish such an act would be.
Childish? Is that a crack about my age? You ain't much older than me, Miss High and Mighty. Just 'cause you're some Jedi doesn't mean you can be a prissy little... What the... Hey, that wasn't funny.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Mission. Come now, we have to get going. Please, do try to be less clumsy in the future.
Though the story is plot driven, there's plenty of good characterization amongst our party, with each having their own side quest for you to either help resolve some of their inner conflict or just further add to their trauma. Whether it's the Mandalorian mercenary regaling you with tales of past battles, or Unk over here espousing Jedi wisdom learned through years of tragedy. Their stories are engaging, and it's no surprise, as interesting companions to complement the main story is something BioWare used to be really good at creating. Hey, Candace, can I have some more Stims, please? This might shock a handful of you, but if you're familiar with Baldur's Gate 3, you'll be right at home with KOTOR. KOTOR uses the D20 system, specifically the 3rd edition of D&D adapted for the Star Wars role-playing game, which means you should be okay as long as you understand basic arithmetic. Don't let the gameplay fool you. Everything you see here is turn-based, with actions being carried out over the course of 3 seconds. Players can initiate attacks, use consumables, but in place of magical spells, you just use the Force and spam grenades. Also, even though the game will tell you this in the first 5 minutes, in plain English, moving around during combat has no impact, as everything is determined by dice rolls occurring off-screen. Now, of course, my 8-year-old brain couldn't comprehend this, and judging by the small sample size of everyone who came to watch me on stream, I'm convinced we all play the game the same way. Familiar concepts such as proficiency and skills are also featured, being impacted by class selection. Whilst the archetype and specialization of each class is self-explanatory, the choice of whether or not you or your companions fit that mold is entirely up to you. Outside of combat, players can try their luck at swoop racing or Pazak minigames, though I would like to draw particular attention to Pazak as the game is bullshit and rigged in the AI's favor. Puzzles and tests of logic are also fairly frequent throughout the game, and while some of these can be solved even if you're missing sections of your brain, some of these can act like a self-report and force you to embarrass yourself in front of people on the internet.
Unless the pure experience takes 6 hours trying to do a puzzle where you move different colored water between 7 different water bowls. Oh, 100%. Spoilers as well. Spoilers as well. It just happens too often. It's just a shame, right? I fucked it. How did oh no. I did a step too early. I did it a step too early. Oh no. Fuck. I needed to move the one on the left first before the one on the right.
Player skills also form part of your ability to interact with the larger world, whether it's hacking computers to show why it's a bad idea to stand next to power conduits, or cleverly squeezing extra credits out of an Aphorian under the threat of death. Problem is, outside of the early game, skills are barely relevant in some sections of KOTOR, and by the end of the game, well, the game may imply you can be a skill monkey or support Jedi buffing allies, but the final boss fight will always be a one-on-one slugfest. So if you didn't prepare accordingly, that's kind of on you. But still, it would have been nice if skills were more relevant and players were rewarded for their commitment. Difficulty in KOTOR is front-loaded, with the majority of the game's challenge found in the early game when you haven't got your build online or stockpiled enough credits. KOTOR also features periodic difficulty spikes, and as much as I would love to warn you about some of them, I think it's best you discover them the hard way. That being said, once you get past these initial predicaments, even the hardest difficulty isn't much of a challenge, assuming you have selected your build somewhat carefully. However, it's also possible to disregard everything the game throws your way, spamming whatever floats your Republic cruise ship and brute forcing your way through the final boss, relying only on consumables, at least before he claps back when you get too cocky.
Yeah, ready? I'll stop using it. I'll stop using it. Oh my god, that's why I need to use it. Holy fuck.
Whether you're a consular using Force Lightning ad nauseum or a Guardian making 5 attacks per round, it's not difficult to come up with a build that diffs what the game can throw at you. And though some are less optimal than others, any build can work. But play with 3 late game Jedi in your party and let me know how that goes for you compared to a stealth maxing mission and crackshot astromech with a blicky. Another thing that grinds my gears is how sometimes the game presents things to you like it's trying to deceive you. Take Zolbar for example. I'm sure that when you think of Wookiees, you're probably imagining Chewie running and gunning. And what do you know? Zolbar comes with his own bowcaster. But when you look at Zolbar's stats, it would be ludicrous to suggest he should do anything other than be ripping people's arms off. The game does this a few times, presenting something a certain way, but in practice it being very ineffective. So keep an eye out for that. Now, do I think the gameplay is ruined by these shortcomings? Well, it depends. Did you really expect a pilot with a couple of blasters and a witty attitude to be able to hold his own against someone who, with enough creativity, could give them testicular torsion? Probably not. Also, it's a single-player game with an emphasis on storytelling and role-playing. The deciding factor as to whether or not something is underpowered, overpowered, or balanced is you, the player, and the limits you choose to place upon yourself. There is no meta. There is only player agency. The choice of how to play this game is yours. Difficulty isn't relevant if you're willing to accept the fact that the game is giving you the freedom to play your way without any expectations, all while being consistent with the setting. If you ask me, it's not a bad deal. Zorba, come on man, give me some more grenades. Yeah, Fido, I'll be careful. Hand them over. Even if you're missing eyes, ears, hands, toes, you're autistic, artistic, you name it, you can tell that this game exudes Star Wars energy. Now, the game is considered non-canon as it's set in the Legends continuity, which means a lot of the stuff you see here doesn't fly with the House of Mouse, or maybe Georgie for that matter. And again, whether or not that's a problem is up to you. But what I'm sure won't bother you is how it all looks and sounds. From the soundtrack to the blaster fire that somehow keeps missing, KOTOR nails the aesthetic. While some tracks are ripped straight from the movies, everything else sounds like it belongs in the setting. Meanwhile, the voice acting is great. Bastila with her endless complaining, HK with his monotone psychopathy, or even all the different aliens in their native languages. All of this helps bring these characters to life and immerse the player in that galaxy far, far away. Outside of sound, the design of the worlds and environment you'll visit look like something you've seen before in a long forgotten piece of Star Wars media. And that's probably because the game is very heavy-handed with its references and callbacks to the movies.
Who you trying to impress standing out here in the elements like a fucking tool, alright? His name was Robert Paulson.
Yes, I know. Tatooine is important, but last time I checked, it wasn't the center of the galaxy. I mean, come on, it's full of sand, and we don't like sand. Also, Rancors and Yuuzhan Vong references. Hey, do you guys like Star Wars? I think this is a matter of personal preference, but between all the lightsabers going vroom, 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 and all the droids going whoa, I think we know where this game is set. Don't get me wrong, KOTOR takes the opportunity to explore new areas in the Star Wars universe, and the Old Republic is filled to the brim with original and unique ideas. But again, it just sometimes feels a little unnecessary. Now, do some of these environments feel empty? Yes, that's why force speed is mandatory on every playthrough. It's so you can cross the surface of Dantooine in time for another round of Berserk.
How did I do that?
Are the graphics dated? Yeah, it's Bamford Poodoo. Is this fair to complain about? Well, I mean, for 2003, I guess this looks like a citywide planet, and I think that's what a woman looks like. Speaking of character models, they're pretty good and are expressive enough to accurately portray some semblance of emotion, but I understand if you think it's hard carried by the voice acting. Quite simply, it looks, feels, and sounds like Star Wars. And if you ask me, it feels pretty damn good. Hey, guys, I think we picked up a stray. Who let the cat girl on board? If you do some quick mathematics, you know that this game is over 20 years old. To expect that anybody could develop something that would be perfectly compatible or adaptive over such a stretch of time is about as reasonable as expecting Georgie Boy to write good dialogue.
Please don't look at me like that.
Why not?
It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Sorry, milady.
The game will struggle to run on modern systems right out of the box, but if you're willing to make some sacrifices, it'll be stable. And if you're willing to go the extra mile, you'll really be able to tease out the game's full potential. Throughout my 50 hours of game time, I cannot remember the game crashing once. Your performance will vary, and there is still a persistent threat of game-breaking bugs, such as the game soft-locking you after a combat encounter, which is why constant saving is recommended. However, if you're like me and you have that craving for that galaxy far, far away, the legends over at the KOTOR community portal have put together the one-stop shop when it comes to getting this game to run on larger resolutions and make it look real sexy. In my case, I went overboard and installed every mod included in the full build. Admittedly, this did take several days, and yes, it was a hut-sized pain in my ass, but it was absolutely worth it, which I guess means from a certain point of view, I'm misrepresenting how the game looks. Well, I'm not re-recording everything, so just deal with it. For the sake of this video, a lot has been simplified and glossed over, and part of that is out of my respect for anybody who's yet to experience the game for themselves. A small part of it might also be because I don't know if I can handle making another 2-hour video. There's so much to see and do in Knights of the Old Republic that it's best left unsaid, and for you to enjoy at your own leisure. I am truly envious of anybody who's yet to experience the game for the first time. I would kill for the opportunity to experience that again. You know, it was media like this that really inspired my love of the franchise, because growing up watching the movies as a kid, all I really saw were dudes swinging around cool laser swords, and unfortunately for some of the prequels, that's still the best thing about them. So if there's a key takeaway from this video, other than my recommendation to play the game, it would simply be to allow yourself to enjoy it. If you're anything like me and you've fallen out of favor with the setting following the interesting cascade of design choices lately, you should learn to take a step back from the commonplace hatred and vitriol you see online and learn to appreciate the good that's still out there. The good that will always be there, because it can never be taken away. And sometimes you just need a reminder of that. Star Wars has to be one of the largest cultural icons in human history. It's going to outlast you and it's going to outlast me. And at this point, it's for everybody. And just because it's evolved beyond how it was introduced to us and changed into something we may no longer recognize, it doesn't mean that the way that it inspired us or drove us crazy as children isn't valid. Because you see, guys, that's how we win. Not by destroying what we hate, but by saving what we love. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's enough out of me for today. I'm tired of talking and you're probably tired of listening, so let's just call it there, yeah? Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. I'm also live streaming now, so if that interests you, please feel free to come past and check it out. The guys in the Discord are sure that it's worth it. Yeah, that's right, we got one of those now as well. Feel free to join. The guys there somehow managed to be that careful balance between my biggest supporters and biggest ops. I really don't know how they do it, but I am simultaneously humbled and thankful. But with that being said, please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao, ragazzi. Thank you. Come again. Can it, Clanker? I'll be with you in just a moment.
You carry something that weighs you down.
Warning. Back off, female. No one lays hands on the personage of the master.
No. Let her cook.
Apathy is death.